Frankenstein.
Take 4.
Take 100, 134.
All right, do it. Say something. This is Jack and Jackass. Anyway, who is it?
This is Jackass Garage.
Oh, that might be a copyright.
That might be. Is there a Jackass Garage?
Fuck, I don't know.
Hey, Justin and Leon here, FNK Classic Cars.
Word up, down, sideways.
All over.
Say hi to your mother-in-law. You know, give her my love.
Give her mine. Say hi to your mom for me.
Oh yeah, don't forget to say hi to your mom.
Right. So we're in Frankenstein, the 57 Chevy Bel Air.
Blair.
If you don't know who Frankenstein is, the car, go back in the videos. Some good stuff back here.
It was our best video ever.
Yeah.
For some reason, you guys love hot steaming piles.
Yep. All the other videos have 17 views. This one's got 17 million views.
It's got 17,000.
It's got 17,000 for real.
For real. For real, yo.
Right, but all the other videos are like, 17. Anyway, so what are we talking about?
We're talking about this here car, and we're going to drive it over to Dave.
We're going to Dave's house.
Maybe, if I don't hit the mailbox first.
Don't do that. So Dave is where Frankenstein came from, and his red 57.
Yeah.
So Dave is responsible for Frankenstein, and he's working on some other projects. So we're going to drop in and see him, see what he's got going on. We know he's got some goodies in the yard.
Well, keep your fingers crossed, because I called him on his cellular device and it didn't work out. So.
Yeah, Dave's not the best about answering his phone, but you know,
I'm hoping he's here.
We're going to stop in for a surprise visit.
Yeah, if he's here, we'll talk to him. If he's not here,
we won't.
We probably won't talk to him, because he's going to be too far away to talk to.
Yeah. So wish us luck. We'll see you on the other side.
We're here with Dave, our Tri-5 guy. He's been messing with him for what?
Since I was about 14.
14? So
yeah.
Probably 50 years?
Yep, 50 years, yep. 50, actually more than 50.
He's the one that put this car together from nothing. I remember when this was sitting over by his shed without a front end on it. I don't even know if it had doors on it then.
It might not have, because I put those doors on it. It had, well, it did have some junky doors on it, rusted. They were pretty much shot. I bought them doors from a guy up by Harrisburg.
Oh, all right.
Enola, Pennsylvania.
He's going to tell us a story about how this one came about.
The first I remember seeing this car was set in Jimtown, right outside of Thurmont, and it was sitting in a field.
Jeez.
There's houses there now, but at that time it was a field. That was in the early 70s, 70, maybe 73, 4, something like that, I think.
Was it complete then, or was it?
Just, I don't think it had an engine or anything. It did have a front end on it at that time, but then a guy I know, he ended up buying a bunch of Tri-5 cars and parts from a guy that lived up that way, and this was part of that deal, yeah. Then, let's see, it went to another acquaintance of mine, had a 57 wagon, 57 two-door wagon, and he actually made a sedan delivery out of the wagon. Well, he got this car for parts and took the front clip off of it.
Oh, because it had pretty decent front end?
Yeah, well, okay, it was an okay front end on it, yeah. So he got this and he used this front end, and I don't think there was much else he used off of it. And then it went to another friend of mine, and he...
Went around the block?
Yeah, so I don't remember what he got off of it. Probably wasn't too much, maybe... No, let's see, he didn't get the seat out of it either. But anyway, I come by, he had it for a few years. I come by his house one time in Rocky Ridge, and he had it sitting on a trailer. And I stopped and asked him, what are you doing with that, Tom? And he said, just taking it up to the scrapyard. I said,
Jeez.
What? He goes, yep, we're going to the scrapyard. He said, I need you to use my trailer, and I got to get this thing off of there. Well, at that time, scrap wasn't bringing, $1.50, 100.
Yeah.
I said, well, take it over to my scrap. Take it to my scrapyard. And he said, are you serious? I said, yeah, I'm serious. He said, hey, that's a whole lot closer than going to the scrapyard. He said, if you're serious, I said, I'm serious. That's how I ended up with it.
Man, that's cool.
So I had it here for, years. I don't know how many years, probably.
Oh, it was, when I first stopped remember that 55 or 6, the Chevy pickup that you had?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the first times I talked to you, because I knew Keith from work.
Right.
And then I stopped and talked to you about that pickup, and that's when I seen it sitting there.
Yeah. Well, you
That's
had a
been
55. You had a 55 4-door.
Yeah, that I got out of PA.
The blue one?
It was
blue?
black primer.
Black primer.
Blue
okay.
interior.
Okay, maybe that's one.
Yeah.
But
It was blue and white to start with, and somebody had primed it by chassis black.
Yeah. So let's see. I guess I got this car in the late '80s, like '88, '89.
And 15 years ago, it was still sitting in the yard. You hadn't put it together.
Yeah, I hadn't done anything with it for years.
That's funny. Sat there all that time.
And then, like I say, I thought about it over the years, but being it was a 4-door, I wasn't that much interested in. But then, how I guess it come to be was my younger son Corey had bought a Chevy Caprice. The Caprice ran and drove, but it smoked real bad because it had gotten hot so many times. The guy
the rings lost their tension.
Yeah, the rings were shot. So we pulled the engine out of it, and he put another engine in that car, and I had the engine laying over there in the dirt in the yard. And it was a 305. Of course, it was a factory roller cam in it. And I just happened to come across the overhaul kit at Carlisle for $15 for a 305.
$15.
And yeah,
That's
15 bucks. Guy had it $15. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, $15. He said, you can have. He said, just take it, get it out of here. I don't want it. So I did that. And then when I got to messing with the engine, I said, shit, I'm going to go ahead and take this 305 apart and clean it up a little bit. Had mud was in the exhaust ports on the heads. But anyway, I cleaned all that up, cleaned the engine up a little, put it together. And just to start it, I set it in this. This car didn't have a front end on it at the time. So I said, well, I'll just set it in the frame. I had a 350 turbo that I bolted to the back of it just so that it could
hold everything up.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even have a cross member on it. I put a chain across it, let the transmission set on the back. The back of the transmission set on the chain. And then it probably sat there another year before I even did anything with it. And I come across that year, I come across a Eldebrock carburetor at Carlisle. It was supposed to be a parts carburetor. The guy had it laying on the ground. It had $5 on it. Jeez. So I scarfed it up, and I stuck it on that 305 that was in this engine. And like I said, it probably was a year or maybe longer. And one day I just, walked by and I thought, well, I'm going to see if that thing will fire up. So I grabbed a gas tank. Well, actually, before I got the gas tank, I put a battery in it, and I poured some gas in the carburetor, and it fired up instantly. I mean,
that's
instantly fired up.
Right in time.
Yeah, right in time.
You just put it back together.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, it was like, it started like it was just running yesterday or whatever. So I said, man, let me go grab a gas tank. I went and got a gas tank, set it up on the cow, wired it up there, put some gas in it, and fired it back up so I could let it run. Let it run, and it started up and run fine. Sat there and idle. I didn't want to let it run long because it didn't have no radiator on it. So then I thought, well, let me go get a radiator. So I go get a radiator and stick on there in a fan on the water pump, and fired it up again and probably let it sit there, 20 minutes. Run perfect. I couldn't believe it. No smoke, wasn't smoking or anything.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah, so the transmission I had stuck in there was a long tail 350 turbo, which they won't work unless you got a shortened drive shaft.
Yeah.
So I had another 350 turbo. It was a short tail, so I pulled the engine and transmission back out because it was easy to do with no front end on it. Stuck the other transmission on there, the short tail transmission, and put the drive shaft in it so I could move it around. And I ended up driving the car, moved it around and drove it. So then the next thing I had to do was get some brakes on it. It didn't have any
have master cylinder,
nothing on it. So
just a bare cow.
Yes.
So I'll open this so you can tell where everything came from.
Yep. So I had this master cylinder, single master cylinder, laying somewhere. It was off of something or whatever. But anyway, I stuck that on there and just had brakes to the front wheels. Put new wheel cylinders and stuff in the front so I could have brakes on it. I ended up driving the car around here and everything. I couldn't believe how it drove. It drove so good.
Man, this thing does drive nice.
Yeah, so I couldn't believe it drove. But the most amazing thing to me was the engine, a junk 305 that ran as good as it did for as little as money as it had in it. It was practically nothing. But then, as time went on, I ended up, I found some fenders in this hood. I don't remember where this hood
was this
stuff
from. I know you said this fender came from somewhere.
This fender was on a 2-door hardtop that I had. That fender there, I can't remember where I got that fender. It might have been a Carlisle fender. I know it was, when I bought it, it had to have been really cheap or I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, it needs fixed at the bottom, but actually the fender, I think,
fender's not too bad.
Pretty straight, you know. It's not perfect, but it's pretty straight. Yeah, so then, like I said, it just one thing led to another, and I just started driving it. I started driving a car, and every time I drive it, people would, follow me and take
you get
pictures.
all kinds of looks.
Yeah, always, neat car, and don't paint it. Let it like that. Just drive it the way it is, and so that's kind of the story on it.
That's why I wanted it so bad. I liked the way it looked.
Yeah, yep.
Dave, I don't know if, I'm sure he remembers, but I wanted this car, but I ended up having to buy 2 to get 1.
Right, yeah.
And then this is one I really wanted.
Yeah.
Then I was going to...
And I tell you, I miss this car. I do miss this car a lot.
Well, I was going to sell the red one to get my money back and just end up with this one for real cheap.
Yeah.
And then I started driving the red one, and I said, man, that thing drives like a Cadillac. I can't get rid of that.
Right.
So anyway, so now I got 2 with tags and insurance on them.
Yeah. Well, the more you got, the better, I guess.
Well, in some cases it's good.
Yeah. Yep.
But this car's been a blast.
Yeah. But and another thing was the floor. I couldn't believe the floor in this car is decent after it's sitting all those years. I couldn't believe it sat all these years up there.
I don't even think it had doors on it when it was sitting back.
It might not have. It might not have, because I bought these doors from a guy, actually from a NOLA. He's a Tri-5 parts guy.
Oh, all right.
Oh, see.
And it's funny because these doors, somebody painted them teal, but they're the same color as the car was to start with.
Right. Yep.
That pinkish champagne, whatever you called it.
Yeah, that
or something.
I don't know what the name.
What is it? Dusk Rose, Dusk Pearl, or Dusk Rose, or something like that.
Something like that.
Something I can't remember.
But it's neat. I don't know. I enjoy this car.
Yeah.
I've been driving it quite a bit here lately. Get a hankering to go around the block in something old. I just hop in this.
Yeah.
And
I miss it. I miss this car. I really miss this car. Yeah.
You did the tail panel, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I had to put it. Yeah, the tail panel was bad. The tail panel
the
was
rest of
bad.
the trunk floor is decent.
Right, even the up the sides on the sides of.
Up where the shocks mount, all that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, the tail panel was there, but it was kind of rough.
Soft.
Yep. So.
This deck lid's off something else too, isn't it?
Yeah, that deck lid. This deck lid is a 50. No, this is a 57 deck lid. Yeah, I don't know. That was on there, I think, when I got this car. I think.
Oh, all right.
I think this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this deck lid was on there when I got the car.
It's
I'm not 100% sure about that, but
one of these days I want to get a clip kit. I want to put the moldings back on.
Yep.
I think that would be cool.
Right.
Just leave it like this, but just have the moldings back on it.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Oh, wash the bush there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. It's got the little clips in there. Some of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking at that. Guess it's just a scratch. I was going to say, no, it can't be any mud because there wasn't any mud in there. It looked like a crack in the mud or something, but I know that can't be because there's no filler in there.
I got most all the moldings are still laying in the back seat. I just got to put them on.
Yeah.
The little, this part, the fin and the.
Right. Yep.
Then I got this moldings, I think, laying in there too.
This one, I don't know how well you can hear me in the microphone.
Oh yeah.
This video, the first video we did on this, we had named the car Frankenstein. And it has been the most popular video we've ever put up.
Yeah.
It's over 17,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah. This was the best one. I don't know. Did you ever watch any of them or?
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I did. Yep. Yep.
His father was in the first one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he was sitting in the car.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
I said this guy came with the car. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
he likes this thing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
He got a kick out of it because he saw it at first and he's like, he didn't realize that it was all together and ran. And I started up and I think I took him around the block at it. And he's like, man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
This thing,
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have people at work tell me, this car runs? I said, yeah, I drive it every day.
That was a pretty good hike from here. 15, 20 mile one way.
Yep.
And he's driving it every day.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I never had any problems. Other than one time when I first put tags on it, I drove it over to Gunther's. He had a swap meet. I left over there, and I was at the stoplight there by Highs on 194. And when I went to take off, I noticed, I didn't smell anything at first, but then when I left, I could see like smoke in my rear view mirror, and the radiator hose was leaking. But other than that, that's the only problem there. All I had to do was pull over and tighten the hose clamp up. Yeah. Other than that, that's the only thing
that's amazing.
That's the only thing that I ever really had.
For putting it together out of nothing.
Yeah.
I met Dave and was sitting right here. I know it didn't have a front end and a motor, and I don't think it had doors on it. I can't remember for sure, but it was just like a cow back body sitting there. And it just, that's cool. He got her back together.
Anyway, this car here, I tried to buy this in 1971.
Jeez.
And at that time, that car was in really decent looking shape. It was really clean. Of course, it said along Route 194 outside of New Midway, and it sat there for a number of years. I stopped in and tried to buy it. They said it wasn't for sale, and I watched it for years just sit there slowly deteriorate. Plus, I had talked to many other people too that said they had stopped there and tried to buy it too. They didn't want to sell it, and finally they pulled it from right along the 194 up across behind the barn in the woods. You could see it in like the wintertime. You could see it
in the summer you couldn't even see it.
You couldn't see it. It was all growed up in the spring. But it still sat there, and it just happened so that, 2021, they had an auction there. And I went to the auction and ended up, that was 50 years later, I ended up buying the car.
That's crazy. 50 years to get it.
50 years. 1971 to 21, right? So that's 50 years.
2021.
Yeah, that's 50 years. Yep, 50 years later, I ended up buying this car. But it ain't much left of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, sitting in the woods didn't help it, though, that's for sure.
Had full of snakes. It had black snakes everywhere.
You said originally that it was wrecked in the front end a little bit, right?
Yeah, they had hit a culvert on the left-hand side. They run off the road and hit a culvert, and it bent the A-frame. And actually, the wheel hit the fender. You could see the fender here. But on that side, the wheel was setting back, in the fender well. You could tell, but the bottom A-frame was bent. Well, both upper and lower A-frame was bent.
Oh, yeah. But you could have fixed that.
Yeah. Other than that, because as far as I can see, there's no damage to the frame. It's just the upper and lower A-frames are bent.
Now, is there a story here? It looks like there was a piece of wood.
Well, yeah, because that broke. When I got the car here, of course, the
tie rod,
steering rod there, the inner and outer tie rod was broke.
Okay.
So I had to put a tree limb on there and clamp it on there just so I could steer it. And it worked until I got it back here, and then of course that broke again. But it
got it here.
Yeah,
it did the job.
Yep. Yeah, it couldn't. Every time I wanted to try to pull it, that wheel would go out. So.
Now this is a power pack motor, right?
Yeah, 283 power pack. Yep, Power Guide, but it was a power pack engine. Yep.
That was in it at the time.
This is the engine. Yeah, this is the engine that was in it. I got it soaking, but I don't know if it'll ever come loose.
Don't look that terrible.
No, actually, it's better. It's not as bad as I thought. I mean, I don't know if you can see here.
Yeah,
you can still see. The
cylinder wall doesn't look bad.
You can still see.
Well, probably didn't have that much mileage on it.
No, it's not.
What year did they wreck it, do you know?
I'm not sure exactly what year they wrecked it, but I do know when I bought the car, when I was at the auction, I had a gentleman come up, and I was with the car at the time, and I was in it or messing with it or something. He said, "Did you end up buying it?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man," he said, "I tried to buy that car before, he said, I don't know what year it was. He said, I do know before my wife and I got married. He said, we got married in 1968. He said, so the car was sitting there then, before we got married.
So it was not even 10 years old probably when it got wrecked.
I remember it when I was very small. I remember the car sitting there when I was small. We used to go to my aunt and uncle's in Tawnytown. The car sat there then. Of course, when I got old enough, you know, after I got my license in 1971, I went over to check on it. That's when they told me they wouldn't sell it. But yeah, it was there years before that.
I wonder what mileage was it showing, do you know?
You know, I can't remember what was on that thing.
Did you take it? You took it out?
Yeah, I took the speedometer out. Can't remember what miles was on that thing.
So I bet you it was probably only 50 or 60,000.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of miles. Pretty low miles. I think the guy was over there was telling me that they drove this car back and forth to Baltimore. The lady was a school teacher. I think that might have been the lady from the auction that was telling me that, or somebody over there was telling me, if I'm not mistaken, that they drove this car back and forth to Baltimore. But they never sold anything.
That's too bad that he couldn't have got it years ago and saved it.
Right. Yeah, it is. It is a shame because it could have been saved.
Yeah, it probably
easy. It could have been saved easy, you know.
Would have been a half decent. It's a good color combination, copper and white.
Right. Yep.
And it had a white interior, right?
Yeah, the bronze and Adobe beige, Sierra gold and Adobe beige. I think that was called.
Oh, all right.
You can't tell now anything other than
yeah, you can see the white seat.
The beige on the seat, yeah. Oh, and the steering wheel and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
And I cut this side out because it wasn't rusty. This side.
Oh, all right. So you're gonna use that in the black one?
That's what I thought about, using this in the black one, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, see, you get that thing out and running, that'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah.
The black one there.
Yep. I would have loved to save this car. I would have loved to save this car, but... And that was my initial thought. Maybe I could save it, but...
Too rusty. Even the roof has come delaminated.
Yeah, this here, you know, the roof's gone and it's just...
Well, these four-door hardtops, I don't know why, but there's just something about them. It's like, if you look at them next to a sedan, they almost look like they're chopped.
Yeah, right.
The roof is lower.
Yep, they definitely look.
I think Chevrolet missed the opportunity to do this roof line on a two-door.
I think so, yeah. I think you're right, yep.
Yeah, because this roof line's cool.
Yeah, I like that. I do like that.
It looks low, and because out of all the Tri-5s I got now, I think the rusty one that you put together out of nothing's my favorite.
Is that right?
Yeah, I got that 56. The 56 is a nice car, but...
Yeah.
And I got the 55 I bought for my wife's a nice car, but I don't know, that thing's just neat. It's a lot of fun.
Yep. These cars were in a field down, I guess it would be west, kind of southwest of Roanoke.
Oh, all right.
So
you went all the way down there to get it. Man,
yep.
That's cool.
But yeah, so he said this was the most decent one. I think he said there was like 5 or 6 57s in the field setting. They were all 4-doors except this one here, which he said was a 2-door hardtop, but it was burnt up. He said that from the back, I guess they had a fire in the field or, you know, brush fire or something one time in the car, burn up. And he said the only thing left on it was any good was this fender. You can still see it was burnt. Here, the paint was burnt off. It actually has a warped spot. Oh, you can feel it. It does have a warped spot in it. But he said the rest of the car was just so burnt, it was all warped, just warped to pieces. 2-door
hardtop. Rockers on this car are pretty decent.
Yeah, that's the body on this car wouldn't be so bad. If it wouldn't be for the floor is completely gone. The floor is completely gone in that car. I mean, there's nothing left of it.
You sat the motor in it. What motor is that?
That's a 305. It's either out of an 87 or 88 Firebird Formula.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So it was injected.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
you
it was.
Put the carburetor in.
Yeah, it was injected.
Well, you said you did get this motor started.
Yeah, I've had it running. Yep, it fired up. The guy that I bought it from out of Baltimore, he actually had two of them, two 305s, and he told me that he worked at a shop, or the shop was like down the street from a machine shop, and he was telling me that they usually sold these engines to the machine shop because they would rebuild them for boat.
Oh, all right, yeah.
And he said the machine shop would give him $100 each. But he said at that time, now this was right after COVID, so he said they couldn't get parts. He said they had all the stock of them at the machine shop, and they couldn't get the parts fast enough to put them all together. And he needed to get these out of the shop, so he advertised them for sale for the same $100 each for what they was giving for court. Now, he did tell me that he knew both of these engines. I got two of them from him. Went down to buy one, but you know, at $100 a piece, especially when he told me, he said, I know both of these engines ran, and they ran, this one especially, he said, I know this one ran real good.
Oh, all right.
He said, I know the other one ran too. One of them was out of an IROC Z, and one of them was out of the Firebird Formula. The same engine, just
yeah. You're gonna run automatic, I guess, in this?
Well, I got it in there for now. I'd like to put a 4-speed or 5-speed in there. The only thing is I have to get a flywheel for a one-piece remain seal engine.
Is it a turbo 350 in it now? Or?
Yep, turbo 350.
Well, this would be fun. Just get it going, get it out there.
Yeah, like
hang some fenders on it. And...
yeah, it fired up fine, run fine. I mean, I had no reason to doubt the guy, but you know, he wasn't telling me any lies.
This thing will be fun, man.
Yeah, if you ever want a hand putting any of it together, give us a call.
I appreciate that.
That'd be good. Get her going and have a little fun with her. See, you got headers on it.
Yeah, I had them laying here, so I thought, well, I might as well stick them on there.
Yeah, and get a front end on it. I mean, like the rockers and stuff ain't bad.
Yeah,
the doors don't look too bad.
The rockers are good. The rockers are good.
Quarters ain't bad either.
No, quarters aren't bad. It's just the floor. And when I say floor, from the cowl clean back to the back bumper, it's nothing.
Going.
It's completely going. No trunk floor, nothing in that thing. So I guess evidently, you know, maybe it's set with the carpet or whatever in it for years. And actually, I think he said the back of the car set down in a creek.
Oh, all right.
Because it's completely going in the back. There's nothing there. You know,
trunk
under
floor,
the trunk lid, there's nothing. You know, it's just completely going.
But I see you got some stuff laying here.
Yeah, I got some.
That's part of the trunk floor, looks like.
It might be because a buddy of mine, he tubbed his 55, and he was going to throw that stuff away, and I said, nah, don't throw it away. I might need it.
Yeah, bring it over. You can use a couple pieces out of it. That'd be great.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And you wander around enough, you'll find the rest of the car.
Yeah.
It's here.
It's somewhere. Somewhere. Yep.
It's got to look a little bit, but yeah. That's what's neat is like you just walk around and pick up pieces and, you know, start hanging everything on.
See, I got my own junkyard here, you know.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. This stuff's getting harder and harder to find. Yeah. Whenever I'm missing something, I always come over and usually have one.
Yeah.
Usually have one. Well, thanks, Dave, for showing us everything.
You're quite welcome.
That's cool.
You're quite welcome.
Get this one going.
I always enjoy talking about cars.
Oh, yeah. You know, whenever I got a question on a Tri-5, you always find the answer for me.
Well, I don't know everything, that's for sure, but I do know some things.
How many do you think you've had over the years?
Wow. Oh, man. It's up there. At one time, I think I counted 30-some 57s and 30-some 55s.
Gee.
And I've only ever had 4, I think, 56s, 3 or 4. 1, 2, 3. 3 56s, a convertible, and 2 sedans.
Man, convertible, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I had a 56 convertible. I think that was all I had out of 56s, I think. But yeah, most of them I had was 55s and 57s. And it wasn't because I didn't like 56s, I just never ran across any, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I did run across a couple 56s that I do. One pops in my head was $25. It was a 2-door hardtop set up on Kelball Road, and I didn't get it in time enough. Next thing I went up there, I meant to buy it, and when I went back, the car sat there cut up in about 15 different pieces.
Ah, jeez.
Cut it up They had the 265 engine was in the living room. The engine out of it. He had the engine was in the house.
Jeez.
Out of the car.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a decent car too, blue one.
Yeah, that's sad that somebody would do that.
Yeah, of course that was back in the early 70s, and
Just weren't worth much then.
well, yeah, you could pick them up for a little bit of nothing, you know. I don't know how many I bought for 25, 50 bucks, 75. I bought a 57 two-wheel wagon one time up New Oxford. Had a new paint job on it for 75 bucks. Yeah.
Jeez.
283 3-speed. It had a later model 283 in it. 3-speed on the column. And it had a new paint job on it. I drove it home. That thing run perfect.
Drove it for $75.
$75, yep, drove it home.
Now you can't find a rusty fender for that.
No, I know it. Yep.
Well, thanks for showing us everything.
You're quite welcome.
Thanks a lot,
Very
Billy.
well, very welcome, yep.
It's a 57 Chevy.
So this is Frankenstein.
Stein Frank.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Yes.
That's a copyright hit.
Yeah. Well, I think he's gone, unfortunately. He was my dad's favorite.
Oh yeah, I remember listening to him on AM radio back in the day in my dad's car. Well, I hope you all enjoyed listening to Dave talk about this and a couple other things he's got there. We hope to get back there and I guess see what else happens this summer.
He's gonna have that 157 running. You know, I told him we would help him hang the front end so he's not busting his back trying to hang the front end on it.
Right.
So once he gets it running and gets his brakes set up the way he wants it, and then we'll help him hang the front end sheet metal.
Right. Dave's a real good guy.
Oh man, he's a great person and just wealth of knowledge on Tri-5s. And if you need something, there's probably one laying there somewhere. Might take a minute to find it, but he'll have it.
Yeah, he's got a treasure trove of stuff in the yard. All right, that's it. I'm Justin.
This is me. This is me. Leon. I forgot who it was. This is me.
Getting old, let me tell you.
My word up, down, say goodbye to your sister. I mean, your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Not your sister.
You can do that too.
Whatever. I don't know her either, but give her my love.
All right. Well, until next time, we're out of here.